Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Guru Pranav Vantal, leader of Utopia, has addressed the possibility that humanity may lose the conflict against the Thargoids. In a public statement, he suggested that the SIM archive, a digital repository of human memories, could be the key to humanity's survival, should the Thargoids overwhelm the human race. Meanwhile, the murder of Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has led to widespread public speculation. One commentator speculated that the killer was motivated by the discovery of John Jameson's ship, and the logs that prove he was manipulated and sacrificed by the INRA. A member of the Imperial Internal Security Service confirmed that the organization was pursuing forensic leads from the crime scene. In other news, the Vadimo patrons of law have announced plans to host an elaborate soiree in the Vadimo system. A spokesperson for the organization said, "We've got aggressive aliens on the doorstep and no one seems entirely sure what to do about it. So we thought, why not throw a big party?" Finally, Angeli Imperial Enterprises has announced that its campaign to build a Bowman-class science vessel has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Scores of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Kenai Enterprise, and by eliminating agitators in Blido, Peru, thereby ensuring the safety of traders. And those are the main stories this week. Senator's death raises questions about INRA. The murder of Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has led to widespread public speculation, along with an increased interest in the activities of the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm. Dr. Oscar Kincaid, an Alliance historian, examined the backdrop to the case. The INRA has always been viewed with suspicion. Contemporaneous records suggest that it was involved in biochemical warfare against the Thargoids during their original incursion in the 3100s. There were even rumors of experimentation on live Thargoid subjects, but at the time many saw this as the only way to halt a superior hostile force. Why this shadowy operation from 1.5 centuries ago should now result in an Imperial Senator's death is a matter of conjecture. But there are many documented cases of retroactive retribution, where one family, or its followers seeks atonement from another. History's course is often diverted by the flow of bloodlines. Horst Fernandez, chief editor of an independent media outlet, made more candid observations. It's clear that the killer was motivated by the recent discovery of Commander Jameson's ship, and the logs that prove he was manipulated and sacrificed by the INRA. If one of Cartesius's great-grandparents was responsible, of course that would make him a target. And although it's hard to condone murder, it's also difficult not to see this as an ethically grey area. The INRA's betrayal of Jameson is a monstrous injustice that cries out for redemption. Imperial news feeds featured an appeal from Senator Paul Vespasian. "The loss of my friend and colleague in the Senate is a terrible tragedy. I ask that Nestor's family be given space to grieve." Captain Liam Sutonia, who is leading the IISS investigation, also released a brief statement. "Assumptions regarding Senator Cartesius's death are unhelpful at this stage. We are currently pursuing forensic leads from the crime scene as well as undertaking background research. I will keep the public apprised of the facts." The biggest party of 3304. The Vadimo Patrons of Law, an imperial organization based in Vadimo, has announced plans to host an elaborate soiree in the Vadimo system. A spokesperson for the organization elaborated on the nature of the event. "Let's be honest, things aren't great at the moment. We've got aggressive aliens on the doorstep, and no one seems entirely sure what to do about it, so we thought, why not throw a big party? Give the people of Vadimo a chance to forget about their worries for a night. We want this to be the best party the system has ever seen, or at least the best one of 3304. To ensure that the event is a success, Vadimo Patrons of Law has placed an open order for a range of commodities, and has promised to reward pilots who deliver these goods to Sikorsky Station. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to guarantee that those delivering commodities to Sikorsky Station can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 26th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Utopia plans for humanity's extinction. An announcement from Simguru Pranav Vantal, leader of Utopia, has addressed the possibility that humanity may lose the conflict against the Thargoids. For many years, our SIM archive has bridged the past and the future by digitally preserving the memories of countless deceased individuals. Should there come a time when our physical selves no longer exist, it is the SIM archive alone that will preserve humankind's essence. As such, in these volatile times, our priority is to ensure that the SIM archive survives humanity's potential extermination. We urge all galactic citizens to join Utopia and help the collective soul of our species live on. Commander Solveig Smith, who has fought the Thargoids in the Pleiades, commented. Antal makes it sound like we are about to be wiped out, which is far from the truth. Things are tough right now, but we're a long way off having to convert the whole human race into software. A more practical concern was raised by Marquis Felix Novantico, a retired military strategist for the Imperial Navy. Pranav Santal's pessimism notwithstanding, an increase in security for his SIM archive is logically sound. The data it contains makes it a valuable prize for our enemy. Should the Thargoids gain access to it, it could lead to a better understanding of human psychology, and allow them to anticipate our tactics more effectively. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. Antonelli Station, HR 1201. Izar Arena, Dekonduni. Bo Orbital, Abastimo. Ford Hub, Kaka. Hutton Dock, Kaka. Kanwar Orbital, Zutuls. Solovyev Colony, Karkinas. Thomas Claim, Talin. Walker Port, HIP 14886. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Ali Point, Pahuti. Asimov Dock, Omicron, Ursay, Majoris. Old Platform, Shiru Pathar. Borden Relay, Leech Shenyang. Bear Settlement, HIP 32350. Born Hub, Ami Makana. Bulitchev Laboratory, Linsis Sector KMV, B23. Cannon Institute, Col 285, Sector IXT, D343. Eskridge Mine, Saptara. Extra Refinery, Azrael. Gaiman Beacon, Onyap. Holdstock Beacon, Camp Shadals. Kimberlin's Inheritance, Linsis Sector MHV, B23. Noli Enterprise, HIP 32135. Picard Escape, Linsis Sector DQI, C15. Pike Works, Agarama. Hureshi Enterprise, Kaka. Ramus R&R, Cardia. Robinson Landing, HIP 32350. Russell Platform, Alcaliwana. Sheikh Mines, Agarama. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has been found dead at his home on Capitol. His death is being treated as a homicide. A note found at the crime scene, and believed to have been written by the murderer, read, "For Jameson." It has been confirmed that Nestor Cartesius was descended from a senior member of the IMRA, and it is assumed that the motive for the killing was revenge, driven by perceived misconduct on the part of both the INRA and the senator's ancestor. Independent journalist Shakwuma Grant has published an article on peace activist and former federal president Jasmina Halsey. In the article, Grant is open-minded about Halsey's claims of encountering superintelligent beings, while suggesting that her statements might be designed to cultivate a following among the disenfranchised. Grant concludes by saying, "Whether she is a visionary, a lunatic, or a brilliant political manipulator remains to be seen." Meanwhile, Angeli Imperial Enterprises has announced plans to build a Bowman-class science vessel. Once complete, the megaship will research life on Earth-like worlds, and allow the organization to increase the biodiversity of its crops. In support of this goal, Angeli Imperial Enterprises has placed an open order for various commodities, and placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list. to ensure that those contributing to the campaign can do so safely. Finally, the Rheingold Electronics Org has announced that its campaign has reached a successful conclusion. Large quantities of research materials and mined resources were delivered to Wegner Market over the past week, allowing the Empire to proceed with the construction of a new pilot training center. A spokesperson for the Rheingold Electronics Org said, "As the dangers facing humanity become more potent, we must seek to cultivate the human mind, and unlock its boundless potential." And those are the main stories this week. Imperial Senator murdered. Imperial Senator Nestor Cartesius has been found dead at his home on Capitol. Regional media streams have confirmed that his death is being treated as a homicide. Captain Sutonia of the Imperial Internal Security Service conveyed the facts at a press conference. The body of Senator Cartesius was discovered in the early hours of this morning. There were no signs of a struggle, but we did discover a note that we assume was deliberately placed there by the murderer. The note read, "For Jameson. As is well known, last year the ship of historical figure Commander John de Jameson was located, following his final mission on behalf of the now-defunct Intergalactic Naval Research Arm. Presumably, this is the de Jameson to whom the note refers." IISS analysts have confirmed that Nestor Cartesius was directly descended from a senior member of the INRA. We therefore believe that this crime is connected to the recent rediscovery of INRA outposts. Our working hypothesis is that the motive was revenge, driven by perceived misconduct on the part of both the INRA and Cartesius's ancestor. Captain Sutonia concluded by saying the investigation was ongoing. Emperor Arisalavigny Duval made a brief statement. "The Empire has lost one of its staunchest champions, one whose name will never be forgotten. Rest assured that we will do everything in our power to find those responsible, and bring them swiftly to justice." Rheingold Electronics Org campaign concludes. The Rheingold Electronics Org has announced that its campaign has reached a successful conclusion. Large quantities of research materials and mined resources were delivered to Wegner Market over the past week, allowing the Empire to proceed with the construction of a new pilot training center. A spokesperson for the Rheingold Electronics Org released the following statement. "As the dangers facing humanity become more potent, we must not become overly reliant on technology. Instead we must seek to cultivate the human mind, and unlock its boundless potential. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Wegner Market, in the Rhine system." The Rekahu Project. Angeli Imperial Enterprises, one of the Empire's key suppliers of foodstuffs and other consumables, has announced plans to build a Bowman-class science vessel. The construction initiative, dubbed the Rekahu Project, will allow the organization to increase the biodiversity of its crops. Once complete, the megaship will be deployed to the PLAA-AIN sector to research life on Earth-like worlds. The organization's spokesperson, Commander Blaine Crichton, released the following statement. "For a civilization with near-limitless energy, and the ability to cross the stars in the blink of an eye, how is it that we still have systems experiencing famine? The Rekahu Project is an effort to change that, and to find new ways to keep even the poorest fed." In support of this goal, Angeli Imperial Enterprises has placed an open order for various commodities, promising to reward pilots who deliver these goods to Kenai Enterprise, in the Blido-Biru system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering goods to the starport can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 19th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Peace in Her Time, a profile of Jasmina Halsey. Independent journalist Shakwuma Grant has published an article on peace activist and former federal president Jasmina Halsey. Grant has described the report as a wide-ranging analysis that addresses the political impact of a politician renouncing politics. Key extracts from the article are printed below. Some believe that Jasmina Halsey always intended to defect from the Federation and join the Alliance, where she currently acts as an advisor to Prime Minister Edmund Mahone. Others assert that after years of inhumane politics, her conscience broke through, that she sought meaning by helping others and striving for concord between the powers. But it was Starship One's destruction that transformed Halsey, something that she herself could not possibly have planned. Her subsequent visions made her politically toxic, at least as far as the Federation was concerned, allowing her to simply walk away from presidential life. In that escape pod, she escaped from more than an exploding ship, she escaped her previous self. Critics argue that Halsey's extraordinary claims of encountering superintelligent beings and seeing paradise are meaningless without evidence. And yet, in a cosmos containing Thargoids and Guardians, can they be easily dismissed? Or are her outlandish claims designed to cultivate a following among the disenfranchised, and make her into a messianic figure? If Halsey is walking a deliberate path, it remains an unstable one. Many in the Alliance have questioned why their leader is taking advice from a former psychiatric patient, let alone an ex-federal president. Whether she is a visionary, a lunatic, or a brilliant political manipulator remains to be seen. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. Ultralaport, Monoto. Antonelli Station, HR1201. Izar Arena, Deconduni. Bow Orbital, Abastsamo. Corte Real Terminal, 1952, SETI. Hansen Station, HIP 95256. Harvey Ring, GI606, 1B. MacDivid Port, Wolf 1022. Reed Dock, Monoto. Solovyev Colony, Karkunas. Talos 1, Peregrina. Talos 2, Peregrina. Thomas Claim, Talin. Y Delta Station, Karkunas. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Berkiley Ring, HIP 33368. Pharma Laboratory, Lingdetti. Ford Hub, Karka. Hutton Dock, Karka. Kanwar Orbital, Zutuls. Kremens Respite, Coyote 368. Rand Dock, HIP 33368. Rigo Survey, HIP 22229. Towner City, V886 Centauri. Walker Port, HIP 14886. Wegner Market, Rind. Wolheim Vision, Fulham. Young Station, Lingdetti. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Princess Aisling Duval's comments about teachers have attracted a measure of support. One Imperial senator suggested that Duval had correctly gauged the mood of the people, while another commentator suggested that her comments were a sign of maturity. Meanwhile, an independent report suggests that piracy has declined since the return of the Thargoids. The author of the report has suggested that the presence of an alien threat has dampened felons' appetite for preying on fellow humans. Security forces in the Pegasus sector have refuted these suggestions, however. The Empire has announced plans to build a new training center for novice pilots, and has placed an open order for research materials and mined resources for use in the construction. Once complete, the center will be home to a state-of-the-art training program designed to create the next generation of Starship pilots. In other news, astronomers based in the Sol system may have detected a signal from New Horizons, a space probe launched in 2006 with a mission to study various objects in the Kuiper Belt. One of the astronomers responsible for the find gave details of the object's approximate location, and encouraged explorers to seek it out. Finally, a spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation has announced that its campaign to build a megaship has reached a successful conclusion. A parallel initiative from the Privateers Alliance has also achieved its aims, after the organization's appeal for commodities was enthusiastically received by the galactic community. And those are the main stories this week. Pirates vs. Thargoids. A new independent report suggests that piracy has declined across occupied space since the return of the Thargoids. Dr. Jin Ramir, who runs a socio-political think tank, made the following observations in her report. Statistics show a significant reduction in piracy and criminal behavior since the Thargoid presence was confirmed. But the reason has not come under scrutiny until now. Has the presence of an alien threat dampened felons' appetite for preying on fellow humans? It's widely understood that communities become stronger when faced with a common enemy, so perhaps one positive consequence of the Thargoids' return is the dissolution of barriers between social groups. Alternatively, those attracted to piracy may find a greater, and less morally troubling thrill in turning their weapons on non-human targets. Whether or not their motives are altruistic, criminal elements may be transforming into defenders of the very societies they have previously terrorized. But a spokesperson for security forces in the Pegasus sector responded, "Dr. Ramir needs to get out of her comfortable office and into the black. The Kuma crew have raided dozens of systems in recent months, taking advantage of the fact that our forces are tied up with the Thargoids. Believe me, Archon Delane sees the Thargoids as an opportunity, not a common enemy. The pirates don't care if the galaxy burns, as long as their pockets are full." Privateers Alliance campaign concludes. A spokesperson for the Privateers Alliance has announced that its appeal for commodities has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community, resulting in a massive influx of deliveries to Bad Javel Station, the organization's base of operations. Construction will now begin on a new military installation in the HIP 33368 system to resist the Thargoid threat. The Privateers Alliance has extended its gratitude to those who supported the campaign. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Bad Javel Station, in the HIP 33368 system. Atlas Corporation initiative concludes. A spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation has announced that its campaign to build a megaship in the Lambda Array system has reached a successful conclusion. Hundreds of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Ready Market, and by eliminating agitators in Lambda Array, thereby allowing traders to operate safely. As the campaign drew to a close, a spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation released the following statement. "We would like to thank the pilots who helped us achieve our goal. We appreciate the assistance of each and every one of you. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Ready Market, in the Lambda Array system." Ryan Gold Electronics SORG campaign. The Empire has announced an initiative to bolster the superpower's military strength. The initiative centers on a new training program designed to create the next generation of Starship pilots. A spokesperson for the Ryan Gold Electronics SORG, which is overseeing the initiative, released the following statement. Over the past 6 months, a research group based in Akana has developed a state-of-the-art training program designed to cultivate applicants' reflexes, coordination, perception, and cognitive abilities. Provisional tests indicate that students in the full flush of youth, unburdened with superfluous knowledge, respond extremely well to the program, resulting in combat pilots of unprecedented skill. In support of this initiative, the Ryan Gold Electronics Org has placed an open order for research materials, which will be used to manufacture essential apparatus. The organization has also issued an appeal for a range of mined resources, which will be used to construct a dedicated training center for the new program. The campaign begins on the 12th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Support for Aisling Duval. Princess Aisling Duval's recent comments about the effectiveness of Aegis have attracted a measure of support. One of the most prominent figures to express solidarity is Imperial Senator Paul Vespasian, who said, "One cannot accuse Aegis of being completely ineffective, but perhaps Her Highness has correctly gauged the mood of the people. A handful of minor victories is simply not enough to allay widespread fear of conquest. There can be no half measures in this situation. If we do not defeat the Thargoids, our civilization could fall." Meanwhile, Commodore Irene McAllister of the Alliance Defense Force said, "I can certainly refute Princess Duval's suggestion that the other powers have not made equal contributions to Aegis. She makes a good point, however, with regard to military strategy. Greater transparency around Aegis's long-term plans would lead to a more coordinated effort in resisting Thargoid forces." Horst Fernandez, chief editor of an independent media outlet, focused on how the public might be starting to view the princess differently. "We know that Aisling is widely seen as the stereotypical heiress, materially prosperous, but intellectually deficient. But could this have been a public mask that she is now discarding? Or perhaps the young princess is finally maturing, and developing some genuine critical faculty? Either way, it's no surprise that she's found an audience, something she has always excelled at. Signal could be ancient probe. Astronomers based in the Solar System may have detected a signal from New Horizons, a space probe launched in 2006 with a mission to study various objects in the Kuiper Belt. One of the astronomers responsible for the find said, "New Horizons was launched over 1,000 years ago, so this is potentially quite an exciting discovery. We haven't been able to pinpoint the object's precise location, but our data indicates that it is approximately 1,726,716 light-seconds from the Sun, and 1,526,050 light-seconds from 90377 Sedna. Perhaps some intrepid explorer will seek it out, and confirm our suspicions." Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Bow Orbital, Abast-Samo; Corte Real Terminal, 19 Phi 2, SETI; Harvey Ring, GI 606, 1B; Azar Arena, Dakonduni; Cayley Enterprise, Wolf 359; MacDivitt Port, Wolf 1022; Soloviev Colony, Karkinas; Stabenow Reformatory, Peregrina; Talos 1, Peregrina; Talos 2, Peregrina; Wee Burdock, Mean; Y Delta Station, Karkinas. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Ulchala Port, Monoto; Antonelli Station, HR 1201; Beadle Port, Pyama; Hansin Station, HIP 95256; Reed Dock, Monoto; Thomas Claim, Talin. Genesis of the Thargoids. Professor Cora Shaw, director of the Palin Institute, has published a paper speculating on the origin of the Thargoids. Extracts from her paper are reprinted below. Considering the Thargoids' impact on our civilization, it is disturbing that we still know so little about them. Information from Guardian sites has shed some light on the Thargoids' ancient history, but it's clear they were an established spacefaring species long before they encountered the Guardians. So where did the Thargoids come from? We know that the Thargoids are insectoid in nature with an affinity for ammonia-based worlds. This suggests they may have evolved in a harsh, low-temperature environment, which might explain their overdeveloped survival instincts and aggressive nature. But we also know the Thargoids are experts in bioengineering, so they may have augmented their own biology to a point where natural evolutionary processes are meaningless. Since much of the Milky Way remains uncharted, the Thargoid homeworld might be just beyond known space, or on the other side of the galaxy, if it exists at all. It's possible they are now a nomadic species, existing entirely in space, or within fabricated hives of some kind. It may even be that they have journeyed across millions of light-years, from Andromeda, or beyond, like a swarm of locusts seeking fresh crops to consume. Other theories are more esoteric, but worthy of exploration. We know that their vessels are capable of hovering in hyperspace, suggesting that which space is comfortable for them. Could living beings actually originate from hyperspace? Alternatively, they may be using hyperspace as a conduit from a dimensional plane entirely separate from real space. The Thargoids may not just be extragalactic in origin, but extra-universal. New designs from technology brokers. A range of new Guardian-inspired modules are now available from the galaxy's technology brokers. These modules have been developed by the engineer Amtar, following his acquisition of data from Guardian sites. Pilots can now purchase a Guardian power distributor, a Guardian FSD booster, and a Guardian shard cannon. The cannon is available in both fixed and turreted versions. An independent engineering specialist made this comment: "These Guardian human hybrid modules offer additional resilience and firepower, both very welcome to commanders flying combat missions. By taking advantage of the Guardian's expertise, we may be able to replicate their success in fighting the Thargoids." Week in review. Here are this week's major stories. Aegis has constructed 2 megaships, the Acropolis and the Vanguard, to help counter the Thargoid threat. These ships will coordinate anti-Thargoid operations and support independent pilots. Aegis has confirmed that both vessels will periodically relocate to wherever they can be strategically effective. Meanwhile, many members of the Pilots Federation have responded to the recent Aegis report detailing the Thargoids' history. One commander admitted he was disturbed to discover that the Thargoids had been around for millions of years, and that even the Guardians had found it difficult to stop them. But other pilots were more forthright, with one reminding the galactic community that the Thargoids are not invincible. In other news, conflict has erupted between ROS 310 Natural Services, the controlling faction of the ROS 310 system, and the ROS 310 Cartel, a criminal organization also based in the region. It is understood that the ROS 310 Cartel is attempting to overthrow ROS 310 Natural Services and assume control of the system. Both organizations have issued calls for aid, appealing to independent combat pilots for support. Finally, the EG Union has announced that its campaign to build a shipyard in ROS 720 has received the wholehearted support of the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Lyakov Dock, and by eliminating agitators in ROS 720 and surrounding systems, thereby ensuring the safety of traders. And those are the main stories this week. Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Corte Real Terminal, 1952, SETI. Bow Orbital, Abast Samo. Harvey Ring, GI 606, 1B. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Izar Arena, Dakonduni. Big Papas Base, Andrimi. Kali Enterprise, Wolf 359. Dionysus, HIP 17044. Gardner Port, Silikians. Malanchenko City, Koma. Makdivit Port, Wolf 1022. Soloviev Colony, Karkinas. Stabenow Reformatory, Peregrina. Talos 1, Peregrina. Talos 2, Peregrina. Wee Burdock, Mean. Y Delta Station, Karkinas. Order stored in ROS 310. Authorities in the ROS 310 system have confirmed that the conflict between ROS 310 Natural Services and the ROS 310 Cartel has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised. But ultimately, there could be only one victor. Pilots who participated in the conflict can now collect their rewards from Mori Port, in the ROS 310 system. Aisling Duval criticizes Aegis. In a public interview, Princess Aisling Duval leveled criticism at Aegis, in relation to the ongoing Thargoid conflict. "The people are scared," she said. "They fear that their way of life, their very existence, might vanish unless more is done to protect them. I'm not convinced Aegis is capable of doing so. The Empire has invested heavily in the organization. Are we sure the other powers have done the same? It has taken far too long for Aegis to determine why the Thargoids are attacking, and it's not clear what their strategy is now. If we are to trust them to defend humanity, we need to see more obvious progress." Although Princess Duval has received some support for her viewpoint, the Federal Times offered a sarcastic rebuttal. Apart from undertaking scientific research, developing defensive systems, producing anti-Thargoid weaponry, creating the Eagle Eye surveillance network, building 2 military megaships, and actively engaging Thargoid forces in combat, what has Aegis ever done for us? A media spokesperson for the alliance was equally dismissive. "This is nothing more than public posturing, an attention-seeking gambit, from someone who is no longer as newsworthy as she once was. Aegis has made incredible breakthroughs, and is clearly dedicated to ending the Thargoid war." Privateers Alliance Campaign. The Privateers Alliance has announced plans to build a military installation in the HIP 33368 system. The installation will reinforce the gates by defending the core systems from Thargoid forces in the Pleiades. A spokesperson for the Privateers Alliance released the following statement. "We need to make a show of strength. That is why we are humbly requesting the help of the galactic community in building this installation. Once complete, it will allow pilots from across the galaxy, irrespective of their allegiance, to work together in resisting the Thargoid threat. In support of this goal, the Privateers Alliance has placed an open order for various commodities, and has pledged to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Bad Javel Station, in the HIP 33368 system. The campaign begins on the 5th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately." The ACS Overwatch. The Atlas Corporation has launched a campaign to build a megaship in the Lambda Array system. The vessel, which will be named the ACS Overwatch, will fulfill the multifaceted role in the ongoing fight against the Thargoids. A spokesperson for the Atlas Corporation said, "The ACS Overwatch will serve as a coordination point for rescue missions and anti-Thargoid operations, as well as being a valuable resupply point and a safe haven for the people of Lambda Array. In support of this goal, the Atlas Corporation has placed an open order for various commodities, promising to reward pilots who deliver the requested goods to ready market in the Lambda Array system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering commodities to ready market can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 5th of April 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately." Independent pilots respond to Thargoid revelations. Following the recent Aegis report detailing the Thargoids' history, many members of the Pilots Federation have made public statements. "Everything is different now," said one commander. "It was disturbing enough when the Thargoids returned, to find out they've been around for millions of years, and that even the Guardians had trouble stopping them. It's like being told that the ancient gods, the vengeful ones who smite from above, were real all along." Other pilots had more practical concerns about the impact on the galactic community. "What worries me is when they start up their strip mining operation, which seems to be on the cards," said an experienced trader. "I transport ores and metals between dozens of planets. If those planets end up being gutted of minerals, that's my livelihood gone out the airlock." There were also emotional comments from those who value space exploration. "I bought a ship to discover what's out there, to voyage into the black. But now, knowing the Thargoids were there long before us, and might have infested anywhere we go. The black's theirs already, it was always theirs." However, one seasoned commander struck a belligerent tone. "All the Aegis report tells us is that these alien scumbags can be beaten. The Guardians did it once, now it's our turn. I've fought the Thargoids in the Pleiades, and I know they're not invincible. With Aegis's new weapons and now their megaships, we can make those insects wish they'd stayed in their hives."